Hello and welcome to the Opportunity Talks, powered by the EPFL Future Leaders platform. In each episode, we bring you conversations with cutting-edge innovators, disruptors, and dreamers who dare to go off the beaten path and drive meaningful change. In this episode, Laura has a conversation with Debra Babalola, co-founder of DotPlot, which created an innovative solution to enable early detection of breast cancer.
Hello, Debra. Thank you very much for joining us today with the Opportunity Talks. And then I guess to begin with, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience and give a bit of understanding of what DotPlot is and then a little bit more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. My name is Debra. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called DotPlot, which is a tool that we're developing to help people catch early signs of breast cancer from the comfort of their homes. I developed it with my co-founder. We were both studying a course called Innovation Design Engineering between Imperial College and the Royal College of Art. And it started off as a group project, but then we went full-time on DotPlot last year summer, and we've been working on it ever since, just trying to develop it and bring it to market. A little bit about me, my background. So I'm actually a product designer by background. I studied up in the University of Leeds, and then I came down to London, which is home, to do my master's, which is where I met my co-founder. And in between, just doing different healthcare focused projects and an internship as well. Just always very focused on delivering impact for people and making people's lives easier to live. So yeah, that's just in summary.
Thank you very much, Debra. But I guess now, you mentioned a bit what is DotPlot, but now we are going into more the first question, which is about the challenge. So why you mentioned this a little bit, you work on healthcare, but why, what is the challenge that you decided to focus on?
Yeah, so we're looking closely at just breast health monitoring. So at the moment, lots of people are diagnosed with breast cancer each year, and we know that with early detection, you can increase our survival rates by huge percentages. But the problem is that right now people are just not equipped to be able to check their breasts properly. So you need to be checking them at least once a month. That's what the guidelines say. But there's only things like pamphlets and demonstrations and videos, and they all have very conflicting methods and processes for how you're supposed to be checking your breasts. So we've developed DotPlot as a response to this challenge, to kind of simplify that process, to show people how they're supposed to be doing these self-checks and guiding them through that process step by step. So with DotPlot, we have an app and a handheld device, and they work together to guide you through that self-check process. You do so by creating like a map of your upper chest. We then divide that model that we create into a grid, and will guide you through your self-check, like flashing on each point, making sure you've covered everything. And then we'll compare these monthly readings to highlight any abnormalities that are developing, and encourage you to go and see your GP if any abnormalities persist. So it's really kind of that end-to-end solution for the self-check process, and making sure that people can do them confidently, easily, and with as much clarity as possible from home. Yeah.
Amazing. That's very very great projects and very needed for a very urgent problem. But I guess because this is the challenge you decided to focus, but what drove your motivation? So why you decided to focus on this specific aspect in healthcare and breast cancer?
Yeah. So, like I say, it was started off as a group project. So the brief that we were given was to go away and create something that was going to be impactful, whether it's impact on society, environment, whatever. And as a group, we're all very focused on designing for healthcare, just because there's so much opportunity within it and there's so much space to develop something of use to people. So we narrowed down on breast cancer after my co-founder Shafali was speaking about some of the experiences that she had with not being able to monitor what was going on within her breast health when she once felt some pain. So she went to a gynecologist. The gynecologist said, monitor it for the next few weeks or whatever. But she didn't know how to. So that was kind of the starting point of our research. And I think the more that we spoke to other women about their experiences of how they're engaging with their breast health and keeping on top of that aspect of their health, we found that people were just so confused about how to check themselves. People would be shown how to do them by a GP or a doctor and still go home very confused about how to check themselves properly. So we really wanted to create something that spoke to this issue and made breast self-checking as less like cumbersome and confusing as possible. So yeah, that was the motivation really, just in ensuring that people can do them properly and catching any signs as early as possible from home.
I guess you say like this idea of being accessible and being easy to use is core, especially for this type of topics, and where you're already probably been under stress. But I guess going into the next question is that probably you touch on that is how you will describe your approach to this challenge, and what do you think this is innovative, what is new in this sort of space that didn't exist before?
Yeah. So we went out. The first step was kind of go out and find out what people were doing to address the problem already. So let's understand the landscape. And that was when we discovered that there was just such a lack of solution for this challenge. So in our program, in our masters, and in design school in general, we always taught to take a very user-centric approach to ensure that you understand where your users are at the moment and how your solution is going to help them I guess address those challenges better. So we went out, we spoke to people like I was mentioning, and I think that was always central to our approach in designing DotPlot. We understood how they're engaging with their breast health as it is. What are the pain points? What are the challenges? And that was when we discovered that people really struggle to differentiate between different types of tissues in their breasts. People don't remember to check their breasts as often as they should. People don't know all the areas that they're supposed to be covering. There's lots of misconceptions around breast cancer and who can get it at what age, what demographic. So that was kind of the approach, understanding people's pain points, misconceptions, and then thinking, okay, how do we categorize these problems and then start creating kind of clusters of issues that we can be addressing. So that was the approach really. And then thinking about experimenting with different designs and processes, just doing some quick sketches, some mock-ups. We went really crazy when we thought, okay, we need a physical device that's going to be testing people. How can we embody this solution? Is it that you hug a pillow and that checks your breast, or do you wear a bra and that checks your breast? So we just explored lots of different ways to do it and then tested this with people to see what they resonated with the most. And I guess your question was about why is it innovative? It's more because we're trying to take a new approach to a problem that's just always existed. It's been very underexplored in time in general. So we're trying to take a new approach to addressing breast health care, and also helping people just keep on top of what is happening within them in a new, fresh, and an exciting way. That hopefully resonates with lots of people.
Yeah, definitely amazing. Like the idea of thinking about sort of tactile aspects of something that seems quite scary, and then it can, I guess, probably like guides you through and understand how this tool can help me understand what's going on here, and as a very first step before going into the other process in case something is wrong. But I guess now what I wanted to ask is, you had this brilliant idea, and then you moved across like the development and the process, but the big aspect that actually is quite daunting sometimes is transforming this into a business. So probably can you share with us what were the processes, the hiccups, or the kind of opportunities, and then how this idea, this concept became an action entrepreneurship opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing we wanted to understand, because none of us in the group had a business background at all. So none of us had any understanding of what entrepreneurship entailed. We then just wanted to have a basic understanding of, okay, we've got an idea. How do we take this off of the ground? What are the fundamentals of building a business? And something that was fantastic in helping us get that understanding was a competition that we entered that was called the Venture Catalyst Challenge. So it's run by Imperial. It's their biggest entrepreneurship award, and it's a 7-week program where they take you through all of the fundamentals of business, like IP, raising money, building a team, developing your customer discovery, all of that. And so it was like a crash course of all of these different elements that work together to make a business hopefully successful. So that was good of laying the foundation of what we needed to be doing. We won the competition, which was great. So it gave us like that first injection of cash for DotPlot. But even if we hadn't gone down that road, I think the first thing to do would have definitely been to either go out to speak to other people who have started businesses, understand what it takes to get things off the ground. But that was very helpful. Then it was just going through the process of, incorporating the company, and then filing for a patent, that sort of thing, speaking to more people, ensuring that we're understanding our users constantly, as we iterate the idea, going back to people, getting their feedback, integrate that into our design, take it back to them again. So just keeping them involved in the process. But that was really what it was to kind of get DotPlot going. There were, I guess, various hiccups, things like sometimes it can be difficult, like now at the moment, raising funds can be quite challenging sometimes if grants don't come through. But I think one thing that's been very inspiring for us is being able to look up to other entrepreneurs who are ahead of us, who've gone ahead and done similar ventures, and just learning from their experiences has been so useful. Also, having mentors and advisors is critical, because they can point out the things that you may not be aware of, or be just helping you to steer yourselves in the right direction. So that would always be my advice. But that's that's how we got DotPlot going.
I guess you already been touching on that aspect of the other question I wanted to ask is somehow like, now you're in the process and then something is already going on and more will happen. But I guess if you want to share with the audience, what could be the things that you wish you would have done, or things you wish you would not have done in the past? What that could be, if you want to speak with a younger audience or other audience who like to kind of follow your same route.
I think what I wouldn't have done was to not be so concerned about having like the perfect skill set before taking the business forward. So I think lots of people will ask us things like, "Oh, do you come from a medical background?" I'm like, "No, I don't come from a medical background." So how do you ensure you've got the expertise to be doing this? So it's kind of just wishing I had more of the confidence to say, you know what, it's fine. We're going to build the team as we go. That's the important thing, is that we've got an idea, and we may not know how to get it to market yet, but we're going to be building that in the process anyway, and bringing all the expertise that we need as we go. So just like kind of resting in that it's fine to not know everything from the very beginning. And I guess also perhaps trying to think more about where we stand as a product. So the tricky thing about DotPlot is that we want it to be consumer focused, but at the end of the day, it is a medical device. So how do you kind of bridge this I don't know, just difficulty of not wanting to make it sound super medical, but then making it very user friendly as well, because that can affect, the kind of medical regulations that you end up requiring. So I think maybe in hindsight to just have a better understanding of that regulatory pathway from the beginning, and studying other medical products in a lot more detail before getting things started. But that would be the main things, really.
I guess I want to follow up on this question, because you just mentioned that you look up at other medical equipments, but is there anything that inspires you? Like, because I guess it's, as you said, it's quite hard to say, okay, of course, this is not something like, like a toothbrush that's, of course, used. However, there is a big potential to understand the impact of this object. So understanding that the position of this project of DotPlot, I guess, has been quite challenging. And coming back to the question, is there anything that inspires you, like looking out, if we would like to be like that type of product of things, something else?
I mean, it's tricky just because there isn't much that's similar to what DotPlot is doing. But I guess lots of like medtech and health tech companies do inspire us. For example, literally speaking to one of our advisors, Lucy Jung, who's the founder of a company called Charco Neurotech, and they're creating this tool that helps reduce the tremors in Parkinson's sufferers. So she is extremely inspiring, the way she's built her business from. It's a very similar journey to us, like similar program as well. And I think just seeing I don't know, the tenacity in how she's building Charco has been really inspiring, and just showing us that it actually is very possible to bring a product like this to the market. So now she's selling it and people are using it. She had a post, I think it was last year, earlier this year, where everything was all packaged and she was sending it out to her users. And I was like, wow, I really can't wait for the day that for DotPlot to be in people's hands and people's houses. So things like that are always very inspiring for us. Yeah, definitely.
I guess on this point, I would like to kind of draw towards a kind of the final question, which is literally, I know that you just started and then the things are going, and we guess what could be the impact that the product could be once, as you said, people will hold in their hands. But where do you see like the social impact? You started with a challenge, and now you developed like a kind of entrepreneurship around that with a product. Where do you see this can make impact? How do you see that this can change the game, I guess, of what exists at the moment in the space of DotPlot?
I think the biggest thing that we're doing is making these breast self checks objective. So right now they're just so subjective. Everyone's just feeling around. You have to describe what you're feeling in words. It's tricky. So we're just trying to make this a very objective outcome. So that's going to be crucial in just catching things early, because now people can say, okay, yes or no, there is something there is not something there, let me go see my doctor. So I guess the impacts that we're really hoping to have is just seeing that the rate of late detection go down. That would be brilliant, because late detection isn't just, you've caught something late, let's go in for treatment. There's so many like physical or psychological burdens that are attached to having a late diagnosis of breast cancer or cancer in general. So seeing that go down would be huge. Also cost savings, so healthcare systems is massive as well, where you catch things on time. So that's really crucial for us at DotPlot. And just seeing people having that peace of mind that their breast health is fine. One group of our customer segments, people with high risk to breast cancer or increased susceptibility to getting breast cancer, are so concerned about something developing and them not catching it on time. So just giving them that reassurance that, all is well, or do go in to see your doctor. Also giving people that nudge and confidence to speak up to a doctor, because sometimes if you feel it, you may think, oh, am I feeling something that's not really there? Is it true? Is it not? But if this tool tells you that yes, there is definitely something there, it gives you the confidence to go and talk to that healthcare professional. So that's really what we want to see in society. But the other great thing about DotPlot is that it can be applied to the early detection of other cancers as well. So that's kind of the long-term vision, not just to keep it closed within breast cancer, but to explore other diseases that we can be catching early.
I was going to say like where this can go, but I guess I change now the question, because the other thing is where do you see the challenges? Where do you see the challenge in the path to reaching the objective, having like DotPlot at home, where I'm able to test my breast for cancer?
Yeah, I mean, biggest challenge definitely will be getting through those like clinical trials and regulations, I think. So we have to, of course, ensure that there is a very, very small false negative rate. We don't want to be falsely reassuring anybody that there's anything in their breast when there actually is. So that's going to be crucial, making sure that the outcome of our clinical studies are what we are expecting, what we're hoping for, and that they're good enough. So that would be really, those are definitely the challenges that we're foreseeing. And of course, fundraising is always a challenge, reducing the risk in your product and getting people on board to invest. But we're pretty confident that we can hopefully do it. We really want to be able to. And one thing that we'll always kind of hone in on is that engagement with our users, and building the product with them side by side, so that what we're creating is exactly meeting their needs.
Yeah, definitely. Like that would be, as we know, it will have a huge impact. So hopefully things go like there would be hiccups, I guess, but the big vision is something that really kind of inspires you, and then it kind of keeps you going, like in the everydayness. We would like to talk about femtech. What is your view? What is your perspective and your experience on that specific topic?
Yeah, for sure. Femtech is an interesting one. I think something that's been coming up quite often, just in like the panels that we've been involved in, and some like topics that come up, is that when women are like founding businesses, they tend to be very focused on like social impact or like healthcare, or just something like very, very people focused. And whereas with sometimes when it's like male founders, it just doesn't always seem to be the case. So it's just so important to be, definitely putting money where money is needed. And I think it's always a shame when I see the statistics about femtech products or femtech businesses being just not well funded or not taken seriously, or that sometimes the people who are distributing this money isn't that just don't have a good understanding of the problem that they're trying to address. So that's always a shame, but it is encouraging, of course, to see companies who are trailblazing and changing the game. I remember coming across these two female founders. I can't remember which university they were from, but they had developed this like flushable pregnancy test. And I saw it and I was like, oh my goodness, how fantastic it is. Just a complete redesign of something that just doesn't need to be full of so much like plastic waste. It was brilliant. It was brilliant to see. So I think things like that are always so inspiring. But to be completely honest, our experience as female founders has been a really good one so far. Lots of people expect us to say that, oh, it must be awful, it must be this, it must be that, but it's been really encouraging. I think sometimes people may struggle to understand the purpose of some other femtech products when they themselves don't have a connection to what issue they're dealing with. But with breast cancer, thankfully we're dealing with something that people tend to have a good understanding of, or a personal connection to somebody else who's experienced it. So there tends to be a lot more like sympathy or understanding for DotPlot. But I'm really hoping that the landscape changes just in general, because I think femtech is something that needs a lot more funding poured into it.
One made points actually. They're very true and awful. As you said, things will change, and the perception on female and technology will change, even from a woman perspective. I guess this is one of the first, that you need the action first, and then the rest can create those rippling effects across. So thank you very much for describing that. The last question: is there anything I didn't ask you that you wish to share with the audience that you think is quite important?
Maybe I guess just some advice I'd say. So if I were to start building a business again, or just advice to people would be to not disqualify yourself from starting a business if you feel that it may not be for you, or that you need to have a particular skill set before you do it. I would definitely just say just to remember that entrepreneurship is not about having like a particular personality or ability. It's just, okay, if you have the desire to see something come into fruition, go out and test that with people, see what people are saying, stress test it, get experts' advice on it, and see if it's worth pursuing. So that would definitely be my advice. And to speak to as many people about your idea or your proposition as possible, for sure.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Debra, for sharing this. It's very, very useful advice. Like just kind of like the perfect solution, the perfect one that doesn't exist. You need to create that.
Yeah, exactly.
Resilience that you build across the years. Thank you very much, Debra. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for sharing your experience and the very interesting insight and useful insight for everyone who's listening and watching us today. So thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Opportunity Talks, powered by the EPFL Future Leaders platform. For more information, please visit futureleaders.tools.